devastating.
We're all in
the
the same situation. We're all just losing it all.
We're trying to salvage what we can.
And that's it. We're lucky we're alive.
We spent the night in the shelter. About 11 o'clock Monday morning, I came back to check on the damage. And the farther south I came, the worse the damage was.
It looked like a bomb hit it. I've been in Vietnam and I see demolition there, but I never seen this much demolition over there.
All the ceilings had collapsed, and there was about 3 foot of, it was like mud through the whole house, covering everything.
The roof is down, the ceilings are down. It's just a mucky, wet mess. Everything is gone. And this is just one. There are many.
My son's toys, you could put in one box. My daughter's personal items, lucky make a half a box. Now he just had a baby Saturday before the storm. And what's he gonna come forward to? What's left?
Things fly around, glass breaks. It's just plumb bad. It's real bad.
About 2 in the morning, lifted the top of the building off and threw half of it inside, another half over. And the half that fell inside, a beam fell on top of my leg, pinned me under, and got a couple of guys helped me get out. We all just left the building and went across the street to a piece of oil field, living quarters, to a drilling rig. And we just hid out there for the rest of the storm.
A lot of people lost homes, mostly mobile homes. There's no electricity in the area, and it was just a mess. Andrew, this is the worst storm I ever seen.
The Salvation Army has really, jumped in there and did. And if it hadn't been for Salvation Army, Morgan City would have nothing.
Thank God for the Salvation Army. They're lifesavers.
Well, we put into effect the disaster plan that we had created last year. This calls for securing the own locations of the Salvation Army and providing cooperation with the Emergency Planning Agency in the various counties.
We saw that Hurricane Andrew was going to sweep across the southern part of Florida out into the Gulf. We began to make provisions for it by putting those who have canteens in ALM on alert.
I've been involved in a lot of different kinds of disasters and floods and tornadoes and that sort of thing, but to see it on a wholesale basis, covering such a wide area, I've never seen anything like this. It just boggles the mind. And we're just barely scratching the surface, I'm sure.
Outside there were trees down all around. The backs of car windows were blown out by the force of the winds. No power lines all over, so you couldn't go down some streets. We had to backtrack around just to get here just because of the power lines were down all over the place.
We had power lines down, we had debris in the highway.
It was rough over there.
Oh, yeah.
But thank God, nobody was hurt. Everybody's safe.
No, hold on.
This is probably the largest relief effort that I have ever seen the Army do in terms of sheer numbers of people being served and the volume that the Army and its volunteers are handling.
When the Salvation Army arrived here, what we found was people desperately wondering what was going to happen next.
They didn't have any food, any water. The hurricane just devastated everybody. In Morgan City, I'd say is all without electricity. There's no power, anything, no water.
At the present time, we're basically mobilizing every way we can to feed people, because as they return from the cities, from their evacuation, they're coming back and finding out they have no means of cooking their food or preparing it, and we're trying to handle that situation.
Any baby clothes could go ahead and go on over. Baby over in the smaller tent.
The sheer magnitude and the chaos in the very beginning is something that you have to overcome, and just with a good operation, if you're have thought it out well and you're ready and you've got the administrative capability, you just go with it. But those first 24 to 48 hours, you're flying by your shirt tail.
Well, the Florida Division is responding magnificently to this disaster. There are drives in almost every city in the state of Florida. The foodstuffs and the other items are coming in at a terrific rate. We have 3 warehouses, and we are supplying 12 centers for the county.
Need some of the diapers going on the other side?
Yeah, they're getting ready to pull this Suburban in here, and we've got some in this back in this building here. We're not letting people in there because the building's unsafe, but we're going to let some volunteers go in and unload some stuff into a van, and then they're going to take it over there.
Now we're just walking.
Whichever.
So we have 3 distribution centers we're setting up, one in Houma, one in Morgan City, and one in Lafayette. And working in conjunction with the DAC centers, the Disaster Assistance Centers, we will refer people to those distribution points, as well as use those points for sending out canteens into the outlying areas.
This is one of about 13 distribution points, and it's the only one I think that the Salvation Army is operating right here. There are several others to the north and some to the south. What we're trying to do is operate a food service area over here for groceries. We have water, the mobile canteen, and a medical unit across the street that can handle just about any kind of medical problem that we might have.
Take about 10, 12 cases, I guess. They'll go quick. I was there yesterday, it was hot.
What we're doing here, we're the staging area for all the mobile kitchens that are going into Dade County. And we're responsible for stocking them with sandwiches and ice and drinks and water and baby food and whatever we can get. Well, first thing that happens every day is that we meet together and have breakfast and go over our assignments. We really find out what they found while they were out there, what was going on, do they need to go back to that site, is there another site? We're also constantly receiving reports through the media and phone calls. Look, there's some people here that need a canteen, there's some people here that need to be fed. So we have to sort of compile all of that information and then sit down with the canteen drivers and give them an idea of where they need to go.
Now, Father, bless us and give us a good day. Keep the rains away and help us today to show our love and your love to those that are here. We ask this in Jesus' name, amen. So we need to, as quickly as possible, get out there today.
The canteens go out into the area to find pockets of people who need to be fed, and they can set up in an area and feed 200 or 300 people easily, and then move on to another area and feed another 200 or 300 people. We try to get enough food on them to feed about 2,000 people a day.
When we found them here, they were looking for someone to come and help, and we were the first ones on the spot, first ones ready to, hand them out a free bowl of soup, free cup of coffee, and everything in between.
We organized everybody, got them all together, got crews serving food, crews washing the kids, crews cleaning up, crews everything, so everything's running real smooth.
The houses are not very well built, so when the wind came, it just flattened everything. And, people are just out wandering on the streets, but they really are in good spirits. They laugh and joke with you, and they seem determined that, they're going to bounce back from this. And we just hope they will. Tomorrow's Sunday. I'm anxious to see what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know. We'll know when we get back tonight about whether or not we're going to try to have any church services or anything like that with them. I don't know. I suspect that the Lord would want us to roll up our sleeves and God bless people and pray with them if we can, but give them the practical stuff they need too.
That's about all we can salvage here, Rodney.
What we're doing now is we're making sure that everybody has a hot meal 3 times a day. We're serving 3 meals. We have coffee and beverages 24 hours a day. Support Christian counseling. We've done a number of that with people up late at night talking to them about God and presenting the gospel to them, which has been real exciting for me. Like last night, I stayed up 4 hours until 4 o'clock in the morning introducing somebody to Jesus Christ. And that's where it's at. That's really where it's at.
Well, one of the things that's amazing is that what they tell us is that the people are first of all, so appreciative of whatever whatever they receive, and very orderly. You know, they'll line up, and even times when we've run out and there's still people in line, they've just sort of quietly walked away, realizing that there was nothing else there.
It's important for us to keep the logistics going. That's one of our biggest problems, is keeping things moving, making sure that the warehouses are full, and then that we transport items to the distribution center. And often we will simply have the truck go directly to the distribution site and give out the items from the truck so that it gets to the people as soon as possible.
When you think of the folks that have been hit and whatnot, I recall riding down from Lafayette yesterday and seeing a lady just leaning up against a disaster canteen and just sort of staring off into space. And I think part of it is just getting it all back together now. You know, the realization has hit in, hey, my home's gone, what am I going to do? The disaster assistance centers are going to help them piece that back together. And I think part of piecing that together is going to be the Army.
This is such a horrific occurrence, happenstance, that we will be here a long time. We will be providing food, clothing, and shelter along with everybody else for a long time.
Driving down from Miami today is quite clear that the devastation is so enormous, and the number of people's lives which have been affected, businesses which have been affected, the whole infrastructure of this part of Florida has been, I think, genuinely devastated, and that's not overstating the case. The magnitude of that is such that the Salvation Army must be here, not on an occasional basis, but on a permanent basis. So just today, we're going to be talking about building a building, and we mean building a building within a week or 2 weeks, down here, staffing it, and using that as our nerve center of operations for the foreseeable future.
Well, I think the compassion of the officers and the volunteers may make a distinctive difference with respect to the Army. It's a flood of compassion and concern by everybody, but we're glad that we have the spiritual motivation, the spiritual background, and there's a perception that we provide something extra for the people who are in distress.
The Salvation Army sent me here, but I'm here to help people, and that's what I love to do. You can introduce them to God, and this is a time when they need help, and that's what the Salvation Army is here for, is to provide help.
You know, you're here to give them a sandwich, a cup of coffee, but, you know, the encouragement that they give you, thanks, you know, that speaks volumes, you know, the thank you and the sincerity, the genuineness there, you know, when you can read their face, and they're really no hope until we got here. And all you hear is, thank God you're here. You know, only God knows if you hadn't got here, and it's all the more meaningful because that's who we do it for, and it's glorifying Him right on the spot.
The Salvation Army is a blessing. It's a blessing in disguise, man. And I speak for myself, and I'm sure I'm speaking for the whole community. That the Salvation Army is appreciated, and, you know, thank God for y'all.